Hi, it's Gary. Welcome to today's video. Fountain Pen Showdown Day. I'm going to take a look at the Faber-Castell Hexo and pit that against the Lamy Safari. They are both German-made pens, both, to be honest, the same price. Both, I think, really good as starter pens. So join me now, down on the table. We'll walk through the bodies. We'll do some size comparisons, weights and measures, a writing sample. Then I'll give you my scores and my thoughts on these pens. Welcome down to the table. So today's pens, the Lamy Safari in charcoal black and the Faber-Castell Hexo in blue. Two nice looking pens, two fairly cheap pens. Price wise, there's only $1 difference between them. We've got $45 for the Safari and $46 for the Faber-Castell. So price wise, very same range. Both made in Germany. Both, I would say, are really good starter pens. Let's start taking a walk through the bodies. Not going to focus too much on the individual pens. What I'm going to focus more on, what are the differences between them and what are any similarities. First difference we can see is size. We'll look more at that soon when we do our size comparisons. Next, obviously, is colour. Different colours. Let's state the obvious. Then we get to the guts of it. So, with the Lamy Safari, the body is flat with a cutout. Got a curved piece, flat with a cutout, curved again, and then we've got the word Lamy there. With a Hexo, with a body, it is, like it's saying, it's hexagonal. So it's flat, then return, and it's flat again, return, and it's flat again. To me, looks slightly nicer. The caps, also different. The cap on the Hexo, we'll start with the Hexo this time, is following on through that hexagonal patterning. Then we've got this solid black coloured clip. That clip, I can hardly move it. I don't use clips, so it doesn't overly bother me. With the Safari, the cap, it's just round. And then we've got this, what I like to think of like a paper clip type clip there. And that one has got a little bit of bounce to it. Taking the caps off, the Safari cap pulls off, the Hexo cap pulls off. So we've got a similarity there. I'm going to put them next to each other. Nibs, the nibs are different. So on the Safari, I believe it's called the Z88 nib by Lamy. This is in broad. And with a Hexo, we've got that Faber-Castell nib. It's a smaller nib. Is it number 5 size? I don't know. I've not pulled it out to measure it. Both the nibs broad, both the nibs in black. The Safari nib, very, very simple. Underneath the breather hole, we've got the letter B for broad and Lamy. With a Hexo, a little bit more complex. So we've got a little bit of patterning around there, a nice decorative border. Underneath the breather hole, we've got the B. Then underneath that, we've got a logo. Of the two, I do think the Hexo nib does look nicer. Let's swap on over and do some size comparisons. My first size comparison is with the Pilot Metropolitan. I normally would fetch the Safari in here because I use them as my two standards, but given it's one of today's subject pens, a little bit difficult to do that. So, the Metropolitan, a little bit shorter than the Safari, but longer there than we see with the Hexo. Both the Hexo and the Safari are wider than the Metropolitan. Let's pop the caps off. With the caps off, now the Hexo and the Metropolitan look more or less the same length. We've got a nice wide section here on the Hexo. We've got that triangular section on the Safari, and we've got a fairly slim section there on the Metropolitan. In the hand, with that triangular section, it guides your fingers where to put them. I personally don't like that, but that's a very personal choice. Lengthwise, though, it's quite nice. Will it post? Yeah, it posts. To me, makes it really long and back heavy. With the Hexo, that section a lot more comfortable. Really is nice. It's a nice fit. Nice shaping. I hold my pens down near the bottom of the section, so this little lip at the bottom, just perfect for me. Lengthwise, again, no problems. And this does post. Doesn't feel as long. Actually doesn't feel as back heavy, but still not quite how I like it. I tend to use my pens unposted, and unposted this is fine. Now I forgot to show this in the body walkthrough. Let's just have a quick look. Cartridge converter there, and we've got that hole going all the way through, so you couldn't even dream in any way to buy this and eyedropper it. And with a Hexo, here I've got a cartridge, plastic fittings though, so I wonder if it's possible to maybe eyedropper this. Let me pop this back together. Both the pens do not come with the converter. You have to buy the converter separately, but they do come with a cartridge. Let's swap on over and look at some pens in roughly the same price range. I brought in two more pens. Now I've put these as I would use them when I'm writing. So the first one, the Kaweco Sport, I have to use that posted when I write. This is 45 Aussie dollars. Lamy Safari, 45 Aussie dollars. The Hexo, 46 Aussie dollars, and the Wingsung 630, again 46 Aussie dollars. So all four pens virtually identical in price. Let's pop the caps on. With the caps on, the 630 definitely the longest. I've had to leave a gap there because it's so wide I couldn't actually use the one that's next to the Hexo. And that Sport, obviously we would expect that. It's a pocket pen, so it's an awful lot shorter. Let's swap on over and fetch in the rule of measuring. Here we've got the rule of measuring, so we'll start with the Safari. Total pen size 13.9 centimetres. Unposted, we're coming in at 12.8, and then posted about 16.4. The width of the body, so I'm measuring here, that is 1.22 centimetres. The cap is 1.4 centimetres. The section, I went from here, which is 0.99, up to here, which is 1.19. So a little bit of a difference, and you can see that. Now the Hexo. So the full pen, that comes in at 13.4 centimetres. Unposted. Let me get this lined up properly. There we go. You're looking at 12.2 centimetres. Posted. Here we've got 15.3 centimetres. The width of the body, 1.36 centimetres. The width of the cap, it says without throwing it around hopefully, 1.5 centimetres. The section goes from 1 centimetre up to 1.2. So section wise exactly the same in terms of measurements. It's just the shape that's different. Let's move this out of the way and fetch in the scales of weighing. Here we've got the scales of weighing. We'll start with the Safari. Full pen, 17.7, and this is in grams. Body alone, 10.2, and the cap, 7.5. With a Hexo, full pen, 18.6. Body alone, 11.5, and the cap, 7.1. So the cap's about the same. The body's about 1 gram difference. You wouldn't really notice it. Let's get this out of the way and fetch in the notepad of testing. Just dropping in to interrupt your regular programming. Would you like to help support the channel? If so, please consider joining as a member. As a member, you'll get early access to my videos. I normally upload them a couple of days before they go out, and as soon as they're uploaded, they'll be released to members. There'll also be a shout out at the end of the videos, and then as we get the members coming in, we'll actually chat among ourselves and work out what other perks, what other things you'd like me to add in. You know, would you like maybe a monthly live chat just for members? All down to us. So please, if you can, consider joining the channel. A link will be in the description down below. Here we've got the notepad of testing, Rhodia A5 notepad, and this is in plain paper. So we start with the Safari. Here we go. So we've got a Lamy Safari with a broad nib. Price wise, 45 Aussie dollars. The ink is by Diamine, and it's Dante's Cosmology. It's not by Diamine, it's by Colorverse. I don't know. Dante's Cosmology. Drying times, so we go immediate. 10 seconds. 30 seconds. Still going strong there. 1 minute. After a minute there, that's nice and dry. I'm going to move the mic down to the page so you can hear the pen write. That's nice. It's not too bad. There's a whisper into it. I hope that came over on the mic. My final test. Here's my scribbles. Not a lot of tactileness to it. It's not smooth. It's just there. But I can't really feel anything coming through my fingers as I'm writing. It does make a nice noise. It's not loud. It's quite pleasant. Let's though look at the Hexo. So here we go. So I've got a Faber-Castell Hexo. This also has a broad nib. Price wise, it's 46 Aussie dollars. The ink, believe it or not, it's the same ink. It's, let's try again. I don't know. Colorverse. Dante's Cosmology. Drying times, so immediate. 10 seconds. 30 seconds. There we are. Dry at 30 seconds. Let's move the mic and do the writing test. I love writing with this pen. Hopefully you heard that. So there's a whisper to it, a bit louder than what we were getting with the Safari, but there's also some high-pitched tones coming in there. To me, it always sounds as if this pen is singing to me when I'm writing with it. Final test. There we go, that's our scribble test. Enjoyable to write with. So what are my thoughts and scores for these pens? Let's start with pen looks. I think both these pens look nice. They're not understated, but they're just there. They're something you can use all the time. But they're also something, you could give to a kid to use at school. Pen looks, gonna give them 8 out of 10. For build quality, again, looking at these, I've had the Safari a long time. Well, a long time, like over 3 years. The Hexo, I've only had about 6 months now. Had no issues there with either of them. But what I'm going to do is give the Safari a 9 because it's just had been through so much and I know it works fine. With the Hexo, I'm going to give that an 8. I think it's just as good. It's just I haven't been able to spend as long with it. Writing experience. The nib feels stiff here on the Safari. Not too bad. Not very much in terms of feedback. Yes, we got the whispering audible feedback, but tactileness I wasn't really experiencing a lot. Going to give that an 8 out of 10. With a Hexo, I love this. I love the way we're getting that squeak, so that singing nature of it. I love the way that it writes. It's that little bit quicker drying, so it's a lot easier when you're taking notes if you don't have to wait a minute before you can turn a page. It's comfortable in the hand. I'm going to give this one a 9 out of 10. Ink flow. To be honest with them, I've had no issues with either of them. Going to give them both an 8 out of 10. Comfort. I just don't like this grip. But what's weird is I don't mind it on my AL Star, which is exactly the same shape, just an aluminium pen. Could be down to maybe the nib. I've put this nib onto another pen, which wasn't a Safari, and I enjoyed the nib. So I don't think the nib is the issue. I say I like this on the AL Star, so I don't think that's the issue. The lightness doesn't bother me. It just seems to be like the combination of them all. There's something about this that I just don't enjoy writing with it. 7 out of 10. With a Hexo, yeah, I really like this. It's comfortable in the hand. Could do with a little bit more weight. Both of them could. But the section, so comfortable. This looks like it might be slippy, but I find it isn't. My fingers don't seem to move at all. It's just very nice. It fits well in my hand. 8 out of 10. Value for money. So, hard one. Both of these pens are very good starter pens. I wouldn't have any issues buying either of them for somebody who's new to fountain pens. They're both solid at $45 or $46. They're both good value. I'm going to give the Safari an 8 out of 10. But just because of the writing experience, how much more I like it, I'm going to give the Hexo a 9 out of 10. So that means the total score for the Lamy Safari is 8 out of 10, and for the Faber-Castell Hexo, 8.3 out of 10. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. What are your experiences with these pens? Do you agree with my scores? How would you score them different? Please drop any comments down below. Let's kickstart the conversation. Please hit the thumbs up button. Every time you like, every time you comment, just helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you can get new videos as I release them. I'll talk to you again soon.